From the government agencies that oversee air travel to public health to criminal justice, the debate over diversity is exploding throughout the country. Making good on a campaign promise tonight, President Trump is slashing all diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across the federal government.
We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
The president signing an executive order his first day back in the White House.
This is a big deal, merit. Our country is going to be based on merit again. Can you believe it?
And overnight, this new government memo saying DEI policies result in shameful discrimination and directing federal agencies to place all DEI employees on paid leave by this evening. After the murder of George Floyd and the social justice movement it sparked in 2020, DEI programs flourished across private companies and the federal government.
The values of diversity, equity, and inclusion are the core strength of America.
But since then, conservative activists have railed against the programs. And after Trump's re-election, major companies like Walmart, McDonald's, and Meta, Facebook's parent company, have scrapped their DEI programs.
It's one thing to say we want to be kind of like welcoming and make a good environment for everyone. And I think it's another to basically say that masculinity is bad.
One of the president's executive orders directs the attorney general to submit recommendations for enforcing federal civil rights laws to encourage the private sector to end DEI. Another out today revokes an executive order signed by President Lyndon Johnson in 1965 that the Trump administration says mandated affirmative action. Tonight, the Congressional Black Caucus calling Trump's changes an attempt to take our country backward.
Diversity, equity, inclusion programs is really teaching us how to all work together in a positive way for a common goal.
Former Facebook employee Barry Williams helped create one of the company's canceled diversity initiatives.
People think that equates to lowering the bar. It isn't lowering the bar, it's casting a wider net.
It's not yet clear how many federal workers this will impact. Some career employees may have job protections that make it harder to fire them. Lester.
All right, Gabe Gutierrez at the White House. Thanks. And growing fallout from President Trump's pardons for the January 6 defendants. Two far-right leaders convicted of seditious conspiracy walking free. We're also learning new details about the president's crackdown at the border. Peter Alexander is at the White House.
They're the haunting images of the armed assault on the Capitol 4 years ago that resulted in more than 1,100 convictions. Tonight, one of the most prominent, Enrique Tarrio, head of the far-right Proud Boys, who was found guilty of seditious conspiracy, seen at Miami airport after his release under President Trump's sweeping pardons. Tarrio earlier with this ominous warning.
I'm happy that the president's focusing not on retribution and focusing on success, but I will tell you that I'm not going to play by those rules. The people who did this, they need to feel the heat.
Republican Lisa Murkowski tonight rebuking the decision to pardon violent offenders.
You just blanket pardon all of them without consequence? I think that sends a horrible message to our law enforcement officers.
Spotted inside the Capitol today, Stuart Rhodes, head of the far-right extremist group The Oath Keepers, who was just released after serving less than 2 years of an 18-year sentence for directing his members during the riot. The federal judge at Rhodes' 2023 sentencing warning, the moment you are released, whenever that may be, you'll be ready to take up arms against your government. Retired Capitol Police Sergeant Aquilino Ganell was one of the officers injured, telling NBC News it's a betrayal. They were doing the fighting on his behalf. That's the only reason he pardoned them. President Trump telling us he strongly backs police.
I am the friend of police more than any president that's ever been in this office.
We pressed him yesterday.
Vice President J.D. Vance, he said, this is a week ago, he said, if you committed violence on January 6th, obviously you should not be pardoned. Why is your vice president wrong?
Well, only for one reason. They've served years in jail.
President Trump also taking new action to secure the southern border. The White House announcing the deployment of 1,500 active duty military and National Guard troops and the suspension of all migrant border crossings, including blocking asylum seekers from entering the U.S.
And Peter, we've just learned the first law President Trump will sign is also related to immigration.
Yeah, Lester, that's right. The Republican House just passed the Laken Riley Act, named after a Georgia nursing student murdered by an undocumented migrant. That migrant had previously been arrested for shoplifting but was not detained. The new law will require ICE to detain migrants who are arrested for burglary or shoplifting.
Lester.
All right, Peter Alexander. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.